How you doing, everybody? Tim from Ski-Rex Media once again with another brand new episode for the new season 3 of the Ski-Rex Media podcast. How you doing out there, everybody? How is the summer going for you, or the end of summer, since we are in August, pushing into September? We're recording in August. Many of these episodes will be out in September. For today's episode, we're going to talk to Tom Thrash, someone from the Northeast here who has seen many, many ski places throughout the country, as well as we come to find out, national park sites and like even ballparks and things like this. Very interesting. A lot of stories, a lot of insight. We talked to him, and that's a lot of fun, and I do hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed it, recording it, as did Tom. Before we get into it, before I start that part of the video, notice the little scrolling ticker at the bottom of the screen if you are watching the video version here on YouTube. But if you're not and you're just listening to the audio only, that's fine, because I'm plugging the Ski-Rex Media merch shop. Check that out if you want to show off some Ski-Rex merch, which you see me wearing shirts. You see some of the guests wearing shirts. There's hats, a couple other things. There might be some new things coming along. Plus, I got to add some hoodies and cold weather stuff as the fall and winter get here and the temperature finally drops. So check that out, skirexmediamerchshop.com, and you can find links to that in the description and at skirexmedia.com, and the usual places like the social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find links to all that stuff. And remember, if you are listening to the audio version in the car, don't check those links until you've pulled over or gotten to where you're going. Drive safe, please. Thank you. All right. So, and one more thing, please subscribe or follow to the podcast or the social medias if you wouldn't mind, and then rate it wherever you see it. You know, click the stars or leave a review or whatever's there. If you wouldn't mind, please, I would appreciate that. Follow, subscribe, and rate, and then enjoy first and then do all that stuff. So let's get into it with Tom here and talk about skiing across the country and in Canada and in Europe. I really enjoyed this one, and I think you will too. Enjoy, and we'll see you at the end. So for our what will be our third, since we're recording now and it plays in a few weeks, third episode of the Ski-Rex Media podcast, we have Tom Thrash, who has seen more of New England's ski areas than I have, which isn't hard. Believe me, I'm not going to try and pat myself on the back like I'm super New England skier, like I know anything or everything. But I've been around. So Tom, how you doing, man?
Good, Tim. Thanks for having me. Yeah, this is fun. I've done a few podcasts over the last year, and sure, I've talked baseball stadiums, national park travel, but I have not mentioned the S word. So I'm really excited to talk ski for an hour with you. So it should be fun.
Actually, that was kind of amazing. I saw your Instagram story today, and you mentioned you were at national park site like 190.
Yeah, and
I was like, damn, this dude just keeps moving. I love that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So, me and a good friend of mine, and I'll mention him as we're talking about skiing, Larry. He's a lot of the guys my age went skiing like in college. I never picked it up, but they kind of all got married, settled down, stuff. That never happened to me. So, I just started skiing on my own. And as their kids got a little older, they can get away from the house. Some of us started skiing somewhat again. Once or twice a year, I get out with them. Now I ski. I don't know, maybe I'm slowing down just a little bit, but I was averaging like 12 to 15 days a year. Obviously, last year was kind of a wash. I did 4 days. But anyway, yeah, so when I'm not skiing, I'm visiting ballparks, I'm visiting national parks. And this weekend, me and Larry wanted to go and see, a ball game. We wanted to see the Post Sox that had just moved up from Worcester, and from Pawtucket to Worcester. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, as long as we're going up here, the Red Sox are home. Yeah, I haven't been to Fenway in 30 years, so let's do that. And I'm like, you know what? As long as I'm here, there's a few national park sites I need in Boston. So, went over by the Naval Academy. So, saw the USS Constitution, and yeah, it's a national park site. So it was my 190th. So yeah, almost halfway there, but
wow,
still a long way to go.
It is a long way to go, but that's still impressive. Like I saw that, and I was thinking about, we're going to talk about skiing and how many places you've been to, and that it more than 6 or 7 times what I've been to. And I've been skiing since I was like 12, and I haven't been very, very many places, but I saw that 190. I was like, I think I have 10 or less. And then I was like, no, I have like 5 or less. And it's,
Have you been to the Marsh Billings?
say again.
In Marsh Billings in Vermont?
Yep. I've been to Marsh Billings. I've
Okay.
been to St. Gaudens over here in
One
New
of my
Hampshire.
favorites. That's one a lot of people don't know. And yeah, if you're in the area, I think that's a really cool little park up there.
That place is really cool. It was the fact that it was small surprised me. I expected something about the size of Marsh Billings, which that's not too big either.
Right. Like you see
But
Aphrodite and Lincoln, and it's like, man, yeah, what was going on up here? So I love
yeah,
that. And
yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, St. Gaudens is great, but I've been to like places like Gettysburg. I've been to the Statue, Death Valley, places like this going out west. And as you move from east to west, it's a whole different vibe to what the National Park Service runs, I think.
yep, and a great little parallel with the skiing. I mean, some of the ski areas in Vermont, New Hampshire. I've been to a lot of the small mountains over there, just kind of like some of the national park sites, smaller than city areas compared to the Yellowstones and the Yosemites or whatever you have out there. So so it keeps me busy all year long. Sometimes, like a lot of times, I combine trips and do different things. Like I'll do a ball game in a national park site. I've done football games with skiing. So when I broke the ice to get back out west, I needed to get to a Bronco game, and I'm like, if I go in December, Breckenridge, Vale, they're all out there, so maybe I can make a weekend out of it. And the schedule gods complied. There was a Thursday night game. Went to the game. Friday morning, I was on shuttle to Breck.
Wow.
And so just keep trying to see different things in different subject areas and stuff, and it works for me.
That's the way to do it. If you can multitask, if you can get it all in at once and really make the trip really worth it. Like, I mean, if I don't tell anybody how to do it, if you do one thing, if you fly or drive or whatever, do your thing, but if you can knock out a ton of stuff all at once, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of your numbers,
okay.
And we'll go into skiing right now since that's why we're here. And, we've both said the word like 6 times now. Your total mountain count. Now, when you told me that, my eyes were pretty wide. Like you told me your mountain count, your state count, and the country count. So go ahead and throw those out there.
Okay. I don't. The ski count is 63.
Yeah.
It was like 15 states where I've skied, and I've skied. I skied once in Austria, and then I skied up in Whistler, British Columbia. Everything else has been the United States.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't been up to Quebec, but I've been all over New England. I've been out west to a half a dozen places, but 63.
Well, 63, man. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm nowhere near that. And I don't think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people stick to their home place. They maybe travel within the state, or like New Englanders will, throw down the money for a plane ticket, head to Denver, and then head up I-70 to wherever.
Right.
And then come back in the Rockies, or maybe Whistler, because Whistler is just massive. But I've always said you can have an adventure just by crossing your backyard and get to know your backyard. And for you and I, that's the United States. But New England is very much my backyard. I've grown up here, lived here most of my life in Vermont. 63. Now, you said you've done the big ones and the small ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So once I started getting back into skiing, and we did Whistler at the turn of the century, right a few years before it was the Olympics were out there. And then the next year we went to, I think, we went to Killington one year. And then some of the families settled on Stowe. I love Stowe. I love the Stowe Village. I love my friends and my friends' families, but when we're up there for a week, and it's always President's Week, it's always like the most expensive week to go up there. A lot of times I find myself like just disappearing for a day. Like on the way up, I'd stop at, not Attach, what's the ones in southern Vermont that I'm thinking of? I just go to visit different mountains along the way, or just say, hey, I'm going to start the trip over here. I've started as far away as Sugarloaf. Like, all right,
okay,
Saturday to Monday, I'm going to be at Sugarloaf, and then I'll join you guys on Tuesday, and I'll see you at Stowe. Or I'll go to Jay for a day. I'll go to Smugs for a day. I'll go to Sugarbush, and then come back and ski or have dinner with my friends and stuff, and their friends and their kids. So that's how I got to like more and more of the places, especially in northern Vermont. Then I went over to Canyon once or twice, because before I went to skiing, I was doing cross country, and there's some areas in northern New Hampshire and in Sugarloaf that I really like for cross country skiing. So I kind of circled back to some of them. Sure. Canyon is one of my favorites. That was when I was just starting to really feel good and comfortable on skis, and that avalanche trail that they have over there was one of my early favorites. one of those
Okay.
ones I just looked down and I'm like, oh man, that's steep, but I had this, and I knew I could do it, and I did. I just kind of sailed down and looked up, like, holy smokes, man,
That's
that was a quick
awesome.
fun ride, and yeah, just went right back up to it. So yeah, and so I go back to Stowe, and then all of a sudden, it's like 3 or 4 years later, I'm like, I really had a good time over at Canada. I got to get back there again. So I go back, and while I'm there, maybe hit Wildcat or whatever else. I don't want to just start randomly mentioning mountains, but there was just a bunch of them, and yeah, after 15, 20 years, some of those numbers add up. I've always had the ambition of getting to like at least one new mountain, and also trying to get to like a smaller local mountain, like mountains that nobody in the New York metro area is going to talk about.
Right.
Suicide Six, or
Love Suicide
yeah,
Six.
what's the one in Kichi? Like the little ski house over by
Yeah,
Kichi.
little ski queechy club over there.
And then I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I think I have all the Vermont mountains. And I look, oh no, I need two or three. So I'm like, all right, let me just pick these up over the coming years. Middlebury School Bowl, and
That's awesome. I love Suicide Six.
Mhm.
I went there for the first time this past season. Loved it. I actually went to Queechee Club this past season as well for the first time. But they're both like Suicide Six, 20 minutes from me. Queechee's
Really?
10 minutes from me. I live right near White River Junction, so I'm right there. Um, all great places, and the small places I do love. And since you mentioned a couple of them, like Jay Peak, like Cannon, some of our other guys like Tech Rob, whom you know who that is. He loves Cannon. He went there last season. Suicide Six. These are all Indie Pass mountains. Now you were doing it before it came out, and I love that because there were like Suicide Six when I was a kid and a teenager. By the time I had my own driver's license and could travel, I had heard about it, but I never took the time to come up here. I was always at Mount Snow. I worked at Mount Snow during the American Skiing Company days, so it was always Mount Snow, Haystack, Killington. I didn't have to pay for it, so that's where I was for like 3 years. What do you think? Do you pick up Indie Pass? Do you go Epic Icon? Doesn't matter.
I picked up Indy Pass last year because with COVID and not knowing how much I'd be able to ski, it was like I think 200 or 240, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't want to lose that, but at the same time, that wouldn't be the worst. Like I wouldn't want to spend like 800 or 900 for one of the bigger passes and then be stuck with
sure,
it, even if they offer
sure.
rebates and something next year. So even with the Indy Pass, they were like, if you don't ski this many days, you'll get 20% back. If you ski like 1 or 2 days, you'll get 40% back or something. Like, all right, this all sounds fair and reasonable.
Yeah,
So
totally.
I didn't want to ski any of the big resorts. I didn't want to go to Stowe this year. I didn't want to go to Killington or even White Face or any of the mountains that I really like. But I didn't want to go any place that would be crowded. And I'm
Yeah,
looking at the mountains on there, and some of them are in New York. I'm like, yeah, I have the map behind me, but I think I've seen their name, but I just never thought about them before. And Swain and
yep.
what's one up there? Just look at it here.
Cool.
Snow Ridge I got to, and then Greek Peak was another one that was always kind of on my radar, but never did. But it's on the Indy Pass, so yeah, I made weekends, not weekends. I was going like on Fridays to ski instead of Saturdays and Sundays, and yeah. So this year I was like, oh yeah, I definitely got to try it, and yeah,
Sure.
maybe things will open up more. And I like Magic, I like Jay, and yeah, so I'm all for Indy Pass.
Yeah.
I've rotated all of them, but Indy
Mhm.
was Indy's a nice little pass, and will definitely get me some places.
I love indie, man. I've said it a million times. I
Mhm.
love it. I've gone to places I wouldn't even consider going in the past, and even like you mentioned, there's the one in New York. I can't remember which one is which geographically. It's the one that's north of like
Snow Ridge.
Utica. Yeah, that one. I used to go. I volunteered at a summer camp out in a
Yeah.
town called Branningham that's near there,
Okay.
and that was in 1997, 8, 9,
Yeah.
2000. And that mountain got added. I'm like, I didn't even know that was there. I've
Mhm.
been there and I didn't know it was there. That's the beauty of the Indie Pass is all these new places. And a lot
Yeah.
of people say that, a lot of us
Mhm.
never took the time to appreciate the smaller independent places, except for the ones you might have heard of, like Bolton Valley. That has a huge
Mhm.
following. It's got the Delorier family name tag to it. So that has a huge following. But like Suicide Six and like in New Hampshire, Pat's Peak, Black Mountain, these places.
Yeah. No, I mean people down here in New York, we're going to go up to Stratton. We'll go up to Killington, but
Sure.
the ones in between, no, I think those get overlooked by us.
Yeah, it's awesome, and yeah, there's a few good ones. Which there's the one Catamounts down there on Indy Pass, but there's another one, isn't there, in the Catskills area?
Is Wyndham on that? I don't think. No,
I
I don't
can't
know. I
remember.
don't remember what's on it. What else is on it? The
I
closest one
can't
would
remember.
be is Catamount, and then Berkshire East is on there. I haven't been to Berkshire East, so that one,
People love that
yeah,
place.
I could see checking out for sure. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't been there yet, but it's on the list. I forgot what
Nice.
else is Wildcat on there, or is Black Mountain on there? I think it's
Black
yeah,
Mountain, and Waterville.
Waterville. I like Waterville too. That
Yep.
was a fun mountain.
Oh, people love Waterville Valley, man.
Yeah,
I always hear great things. In fact,
yeah,
when it got added to Indy Pass last season, I almost heard it out the window. People like,
yeah. I
yeah, like
remember
they love it.
they had the training area right at the bottom of the mountain, so that was kind of you had to slow down when you were halfway down the mountain, and they would talk
Hmm.
about moving that off, and I'm like, oh, when you do that, that was like the one fault I saw with it. Just like, come on, get the kids out of the way. You'll get the get experience. Not that I'm great by any means, but I do like a little clearance and
Oh, but believe me, I understand. I understand.
yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, Indy Pass is great, especially here in New England. But then all the passes except for Mountain Collective are great here in New England. Like we have
right.
tons of
Yeah.
stuff you could play with.
Yeah, I rotated. I mean, when I went out to Breckenridge, I was 2013, and I got I forgot how many day pass, but it was only a couple $100. It wasn't the full blown one, but it made Breckenridge, you know, affordable. I forgot what the walk up price was back then. It was maybe like 120, 130, which is more than I had ever seen for a lift ticket.
Oh
And
yeah,
just brought it down to like that for 2 or 3 days, which was great. And then I went to Mountain Collective. Then I went to the Icon, I think whatever it was called before that.
yeah.
Um,
I don't
yeah,
remember.
no, right. And Epic, and then Icon, then Epic, and then now we're up to the Indie one, which I'm doing for the second year.
Sure, sure. And me too. Like I'm all about Indy.
Yeah.
You said you've been to Austria and you've been to Whistler.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine in British Columbia. Not that I know much about West Coast skiing. I don't. I've only skied New England and the Mid Atlantic, which includes big snow. If you haven't checked out the indoor place, I suggest that. That's really kind of cool too.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it. People pick on it, make fun of it. I don't know why. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I say do it, but is is skiing Canada and skiing Austria different than skiing US? Like I imagine Whistler's got to be similar because Canada, US, basically the same.
Was very similar. I mean, yeah, there was not much different other than the signs or metric. I don't remember any other difference other than it was like the biggest mountain, biggest vertical that you can imagine skiing, but there's no real big. You're not like at Breckenridge, you're 12, 14,000 feet above sea level at the peaks, and
Yeah, man.
the altitude got to me. You don't have that at all in Whistler. It was just great. The first year we went, it was the year 2000. So, we're going the first week of the year and we're thinking, all right, Y2K, what's going to happen with all the computers? We're flying out like the third day of the year. This was a dumb idea, but everything worked out perfectly. And when I say perfect, I mean it was like 6 to 10 inches of new snow every single morning. So we thought it was always like that. So it just could
Wow.
not have given me a better first impression. The next year it was more average, and there was a little rain mixed in, a little more icing and stuff like that. It was just a little more average. But we also knew both mountains a little bit better, so it was still a fun time. But
That's
yeah, that first
awesome.
time it just could not have been better. Austria, yeah, that's where you see, you hear things like with lift lines and just people kind of funneled toward the gate, and it's almost like a free for all. I wasn't crazy about that. I should also say I learned to ski because I already had the plan to go to Europe, and there was just like no way I was going to step foot in Switzerland or Austria in March and not check out the Alps, right? I mean, it's just
Sure.
so.
Yeah.
I learned at another mountain I heard you mention before, Whaleback.
Yep.
From my from my cross country skiing, I had driven by that on 93, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a good place to learn. I can't get into too much trouble there. I had a little come out, not kid, but high school, college could come out, turned into a private lesson because nobody else had showed up, and great. I got really comfortable on it. A couple of weeks later, one of my friends that I worked with, we went up to Stowe, took another lesson, and by that point, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for Austria. I still wasn't, but it was just awful. The weird lift, there was the tow rope things, even to get up to the summit, which I just was not, equipped to do or prepared to do. And, I ended up taking like just easy, green trails just to get, to get down without killing me. But I felt like I was coming down the mountain for like a half hour. It just was just a massive, massive mountain. Absolutely beautiful. So fun experience, but I wish I would have waited 5 years until I felt more comfortable with the skiing, but I was there. And
That's actually interesting. You say that because you hear things like I've talked to people from the United States who've skied in several in the Alps, whether it be Austria, Italy, France,
Mm-hmm.
or the big, I've known people who've gone to Chamonix and things like this, and Scandinavian places, and it's all different. Every region's different. The United States. I mean, geez, if you ski the Sierras versus New England, it's different. And I've known European skiers, and it's amazing how none of them have ever admitted maybe I should have waited a little while before going for it. So I
Oh yeah.
respect that. I totally respect that because
Uh,
I'm not great. I've openly admitted I love it, but I'm not good at it.
right.
Like I'm okay, I
Yeah,
don't.
I'm solid. I got to the point where I felt like I could get down anything. It wouldn't be pretty, but if I was in
Yeah,
trouble at the top and got stuck, I wouldn't be stuck there overnight because I could work my way down.
there you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
I may have
That's how I am
cracked
with
50
snowboard.
once, but or twice, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't bet money that I have. But yeah, no, yeah, solid intermediate, and I'm happy with that.
That's fine, man. I always say you don't have to be the best. Just have
Yeah.
fun. Just have a
Yeah.
good day. So you said you try to do as much as you can. Now, it wasn't initially a goal to just try and hit everything, was it?
No, I think my first goal with skiing was to get to one mountain at least in the Northeast. So, like I had Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont. I've skied in Connecticut and Massachusetts and New York, of course. I ended up skiing New Jersey with a friend, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, Connecticut. And then there was Rhode Island was kind of sticking out there. And there's one little mountain over there, Yago or Yogo or whatever, like a little
Yep.
three. And I had a blast. It was a fun little, again, little tow road thing, but I had a good time when I went. I had gotten down to West Virginia. I had to go to. I'm sorry, I had to go down to Virginia, which is where my office is,
Mhm.
in December. So I'm like, I had I don't know what pass it was on at the time. I think it was on Epic, and Snowshoe was on it. So I've always wanted to check that out.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
totally.
Pennsylvania, that was one of the places where I tried to ski early and couldn't, and then I think I went back for Elk, which is another great mountain that you don't get talked about too much. So like I haven't skied Maryland yet. I haven't skied the Carolinas yet. I haven't skied Ohio or any place in the Midwest. But yeah, one of the things I was doing was tallying up like any state that has like a reasonable size mountain. I want to try and ski at least one mountain there. So you look the whole like North Dakota has little mountains. I'm not really interested in. I know you can't see it on the camera, but
Yeah.
like Washington State, Idaho, I haven't skied yet. When I went to Colorado, and then the next trip out west was to Big Sky. I'm like, all right, Colorado and Montana. So, what's that? Wyoming or Jackson Hole. Who doesn't want
Yep.
to ski Jackson Hole? So I got that one under my belt. Heavenly was, and one of my favorites. I thought I'd get California and Nevada checked off for that, but only got to ski the California side. Um,
Ah,
but yeah, they were that was would have been might have been the best ski trip of all time, but there were wind holes and just not just the gondola was closed all week. I don't know if it was just saved for weekends or something, but yeah. But anyway, I had a really good time there. But yeah, I still need Nevada, Oregon, Washington State. So I'm thinking like I want to get as many kind of states like that. I know Georgia has a little ski mountain, and not to knock it or anything, but it's just not something I would invest my time, valuable ski time in making a trip down there.
sure.
But yeah, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, like yeah, definitely. I love national parks. Ohio has a national park that has two little ski resorts, Brandywine and Boston Mills. Um,
Oh, I've
yeah,
heard of those. I didn't know they were in like a
Cuyahoga
national park
Valley.
area.
I can never pronounce Cuyahoga Valley National Park. I think it is, or I'm in ski mode, national park mode. But being in a national park is to me is so cool. And yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's not a very big mountain. It's just outside of Cleveland. I'm sure it's a great mountain for folks in Cleveland. It's a hour away, or whatever.
Mm.
I definitely want to ski that just for the novelty of it. But yeah, so kind of that's kind of my thinking. And the other one was I wanted to ski every mountain over 2,000 feet in New England. So that helped me get to places like Burke and
Sure.
you know Sunday River, Sugarloaf. Saddleback I'll be doing for sure this year. That's
Oh
also
yeah.
on Indy. So
Yep. Yep.
so the 2,000 footers, and then when I had all in, what I did, I want to get down to like all right the 1,500 footers, and that got me to places like Ragged, and again I'm just throwing mountain names out there, but yeah,
Sure.
just different mountains and all over the state, or all over the Northeast, and that's how the number climbed up to 40 to 50, and now at 63.
That's awesome. And that's a lot of travel, which is great. I've been wanting to do the same thing. I've been talking about since I used Indy last year, this will be the third year they've been around. I'm going to be my second year. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be fun to jump in a car, start at Saddleback and work all the way down to Obergatlinburg down in Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun. But you're right. There's going to be some places that might not make the cut. I didn't, even though I lived in Las Vegas for a year and a half, I didn't do any skiing out there. And that includes Lee Canyon, which for me, like you mentioned, the altitude getting to you, altitude kicks me right in the backside every time. And not nearly as high as some people. Like I have friends who get to 10,000, 11, 12, and they're fine. I hit 8 and I'm starting to slow down.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's whatever.
It's easy. It's when you have to like get, just ski over a little bit on a flat area to a lift or something, or away from the ski resort. And it's like, and all of a sudden, like, wait, there's no air here.
Yeah,
you really notice it. When I was out there, I was fine. I forgot what the summit was there. I think it was in like the 9,000, 10,000 foot range. The only thing that bothered me there was at the hotel, walking up like 4 flights of stairs. And when I got up, I was really winded. Breckenridge wiped me out, almost cost me a full day of skiing. Big Sky, no problem. Jackson Hole, no problem. But
nice.
So Breckenridge for sure. Other than that, I was aware of it, but not really, prevented me from doing anything.
Yeah, that's good though. Like, cause like I noticed it hiking up there. I got the full on altitude sickness. Like it was almost gross. I'll say that. And, so when I found that out, I've tended to shy away from making my trips out there. But again, you do what you can do. And I say that to everybody, or you plan around it. People say when you go out to like Vail or Aspen, fly into Denver, spend a couple days in Denver, then go. It'll help.
I went to the football game. That was part. I'm like, I did that. I had a day here, and then my first day at Breckenridge, everything was kind of going okay until the end of the day, and then it just kind of hit me at the end of the day. I don't know if I didn't drink enough water. The next morning, I went to sleep at like 6 o'clock for a nap, and I didn't wake up till like midnight. And then I just slept the rest of the night. I woke up in the morning and just was out of it. I went down for breakfast, and they're like, "Don't drink coffee." I'm like, "I don't care. I want coffee anyway." A glass of water, and like this, I can't believe this. I'm here for 2 more days. I can't believe I may have ruined the trip. So I stepped outside and just took a deep breath, and I was fine. I mean, it just snapped out of it that quickly, and I didn't have a problem the rest of the trip. I don't know if it was in my head or just like, you have to get acclimated. It takes like 24 hours or something. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, it's different for everybody. It's a weird thing and it's a weird feeling. I explain it to people and they're like, I've never had it. And I'm just like, if you don't, that's great. If not, that's great too. But it's an odd thing. It really is. It's an odd feeling.
What you said before was spot on. Like you have 8,000, maybe 9,000. People have like different levels where it gets them. So
yeah, totally.
Find out where that is for you and just, get in shape, take it easy that first day or two, and then you should be fine.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you're going to go big, you got to learn. If you go to South America where things are really big and, base lodges are at 10,000 feet down there. And I'm like, all right, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not trying that. I'm good. So let me ask you this. You talk about knowing Ray Alba. You've talked to him a few times. Did you ski with the family?
Oh, yeah. I skied with Ray. It's got to be 10 years ago already. I met him and the family at one of the little mountains near me, Thunder Ridge in Putnam County, just in the lower Hudson Valley here, or mid-Hudson Valley. So
sure.
There, and then we went to Hunter once or twice, and then, I started seeing him in Vermont every year or two. Maybe a half dozen times, skied with him at Pico a bunch of times. So I skied with Ray, I skied with the whole family, definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, see, they're well known here. Any fan of theirs is a fan of mine. I'm a big fan of theirs, and they know that. Talked to them on the phone. We tried to meet up a couple times, but it got blown. Once they were actually in my town on Thanksgiving, but it was Thanksgiving, so I was already doing stuff. And then they were at Pico one evening. I'm like, yeah, I'll come. And then I look out the window, and it's just coming down, and I'm like, I can't drive in this. It was that bad. Normally, back when I was younger, I wouldn't have chickened out from it, but as a grown up, I wasn't messing around. So have you made it into their films? I've watched a lot of their films that I can't remember.
I've been in little clips I've done. I think the most famous thing I did with them was Nevada has our chairlift snack pieces.
That I remember. Yes. Now I remember.
The donut thing. Right. So that and I did one weather report for them early on. They don't do that anymore. And there's a few clips of me here and there, but But I
Awesome.
don't ski as well as the family does. And the two kids just blow me out of the water. You know,
Oh my
they've
God,
been
those
blowing me
kids.
out of the water since he was about 10, and then now Nevada's long past me.
Yeah, no, those kids, I've seen them ski on the vids, and I'm like, I can't do that anymore. I'm out. That's that's kind of awesome though, because they do films. I feel one of the reasons I push them, and one of the reasons I like them, it's not, and I'm not downing Warren Miller Entertainment. I'm not downing Level One or my favorite Nimbus Independent or Poor Boy or Matchstick or any of these guys, but they do sometimes from year to year get in the rut of jump, talk, jump, talk, jump, talk, jump, talk. We get it. Um, the family film that's more street level, as I've been saying, with people like you, me, just regular folks. That's awesome to me. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think they're gonna like the kids will really like it. Well, I don't. They're teenagers now. I don't know if kids is the right word, but I think like in 10, 20 years they'll look at some of these videos and like, oh, this stuff is so cool. We're so lucky to have this. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man, and that is great. Um, let's see what else I got on my list. Oh yeah, here's one because you have so many, and this is something we were talking about last night. I was talking to Tech Rob and Scooter about how something I've always said is that skiing, at least in skiing, I'll keep it in the context of skiing, is it's for to use the word best, it's just too subjective a thing. You can't anybody who tells me best, I say what makes it the best, and I'm like, well, you just told me what you like about it, so it's your favorite, you
sure,
know.
yeah.
So I'm not going
Game-
to ask you. Yeah, I'm not going to ask you what you think the best is, but where's your favorite place to go?
I do like Stowe, and it's like you said. I mean, first of all, I love the mountain. They have two separate mountains. They have more of the resort style on one side. They have the lessons that are given out on one side. They have some really nice trails over there on the Spruce side, and then Stowe is where they have the gondola. They have the high
Yep.
speed quad, and they have some of the terrain parks and everything, and and just some really long rooms, which is what I like. And I've been on like three of the four front four. I haven't been on Goat. Or I think I made a U-turn on it or something like that. But
Nice.
so I ski just about every trail on the mountain. There's probably like three or four, unless I cut new things in that I don't know about. But just a great mountain with lots of lifts. I never find myself waiting on long lift lines. Like, oh, there's a lift line here. I'll just go over here, and oh, it's double, but it's a little. So I don't care if it's a slow lift. If I just can ski right up and then just relax for 15 minutes on a chairlift, and look at the beautiful scenery. And on top of that, the whole Stowe Village is what kind of makes a trip for us. You get days where it's too cold or something. There are other things to do in the village. There's several breweries right in town.
Yep.
When my friends go, they like to bowl. If we're there in the winter, December and January especially, just watching football games on the Sunday afternoon. And just walking around to different restaurants. Some of the pizza place up there is just phenomenal. So just yeah, that is certainly one of my favorites. But what you're saying before about saying something is the best, it's difficult because if you would have asked me about Sugar Bush 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, I went there, it was okay. But when I went, it was just a lousy weather day, and that's an awful bad way to rate a mountain because you were there on the wrong day. You go on a powder day or a bluebird day, and it's a totally different mountain. That was the last mountain I skied before the pandemic, and it was just I whatever pass that was I had last back then. But skied I think 2 different weekends there and 2 days in a row. Or I think I did Sugar Bush, Sugar Bush to be more accurate. And
Sure.
both days were just really nice days on the mountain and that cross mountain chairlift. That was what the coldest I ever was. It was that day. It was rainy. It was like 20 degrees. My jacket was soaked. I was in the fetal position on the chair because it had stopped until it was just a bad, miserable
Wow.
thing. And I'm like, oh, this is, I hate that place. I'm never going back there again kind of attitude. But I did go back once after it was fine. And then, like I said, a couple more good days there. And I'm like, yeah, I got to spend, more time over here. It's a 15-minute shorter drive.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do in the base town and Waitsfield and stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
when people say, what's your favorite? I'm like, well, just like with the national park, you had a good weather day or a bad weather day there, or the time of year, how crowded it happened to be. You went on a Wednesday or you went on a Saturday. It's going to be more crowded on a Saturday. Same thing is true with skiing. You get a totally different vibe depending on when you go. So, just a long way of saying there's a lot of factors that go into like your experience there. So you got to be careful when you talk about your favorite places.
That's really an interesting point to me because I've said the same thing and I've told stories recently, like, well, the whole bunch of us from, the East Coast, Scooter, Rob, and a few others, we were all out at Black Mountain, at the end of last season. We were all able to sneak in New Hampshire, do our quarantine thing and everything. And, that day was rough. Like for me, they were all staying out there. They went to Cannon, they went to Wildcat, they went to somewhere else, maybe, I don't remember, but we were all doing indie together. So we went to Black. Yeah. And getting out there, it took me like way longer because I was just battling squalls all the way over. We get there, it was the end of their season. So half the mountain was closed. It was ruts. It was bumps. It was crud. It was squalls. It was rough. And then for me getting back, it was the same thing on the way back. But I can't, if someone were to say, so what is a bad mountain? I'm like, no, we were just, we still had fun. Number one, because it was a group, none of us, that was yeah, exactly. And that was the first group outing we've had all season at that point. But I would never hold the mountain accountable for a crappy day. I said the same thing about Bolton Valley. I had a bad day up there once, but that place is incredible. I love that place. I would put it right up there with like Killington and other places that might be bigger, might have more amenities, but is awesome.
Yeah, I've gotten irritated with places that look like they have good coverage, but the lifts aren't open. Like in Bolton, that happened to me one time where it was like, I'm stuck to this one lift over here, but that looks beautiful over there. What's wrong? Why can't why isn't that open? It happened. I mean, obviously staffing issues and things like that can come into play.
Sure.
That was like, leave a sour taste in my mouth or make me say, all right, yeah, I gave them a chance. I'm going to give somebody else a chance next time. So.
Yeah, but that's cool too, man. Like I'm like you. I would love to hit a lot more places and do plan to, with the Indie Pass and everything. Like we don't. What is your thoughts, real quick, before I get into making the point? Because this kind of goes along with it. We've all been talking about, and the ski media's been talking about, what's the season going to look like? Do you think it's going to go back to the way it was, or is it just, this is over and we're moving on?
I really don't know. I mean, I was kind of encouraged by the number of vaccination shots given out the last week in New York. I mean, just 30,000, 50,000 a day. And I'm just like, if we can just get ahead of this, it really could look like a normal season. But with these variants rolling out, I don't know. Last year, the mountains I skied were all small ones, and it wasn't on a lift line. I did the thing changing on my boots. I do that at Stowe all the time. That's not a big deal to me, right? If you're in the Northeast, you're probably going to have change in the booth or in the lodge and stuff. I don't know. I'm really curious, and again, I think maybe that pushed me to get in the Indie Pass because there probably is some risk in it. Things could get bad, sure, but will they? Mm-hmm. I'm still kind of hopeful that it's going to be okay. I have a trip to Dallas next month. I'm still thinking that's going to happen. I'd like to get to another football game out in LA or Vegas in November, December, but I'm not booking anything or planning anything because I'm just going to wait and see what happens first. And then ski season is right after that. So, yeah, I'm hoping I only skied 4 days last year. I'd like to get back up to, 10, 12 days if possible, if things look okay, but who knows?
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. There is the opportunity. I'm playing it optimistic though. I'm saying no. I'm going to call it like we're good. Mm-hmm. And I also love Las Vegas. Since you brought it, since you said it, I just also throw it out there. I love that town. I loved living there. It was a great place, and I suggest anybody goes. And like I said, Lee Canyon's 45 minutes. You can ski it. Brian Head is 3 hours. You could get there. The stuff outside of Salt Lake City, 6 hours. It's a great place to start a ski trip. People don't believe that, but it is.
Okay,
I've also said with, since the United States only has its one indoor ski place, and these places have been popular in Europe and Asia for years, and Big Snow, I think, is proving that it can be popular here. I said, guarantee within 5 years, you get one right next to the new Raiders Stadium, which is fine. I like to gamble and ski. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of gambling and skiing, you said you hadn't, Whistler was the it for Canada. Like you hadn't gotten into Quebec.
I have not yet. No, the one I wanted to get to was just outside of Quebec City, Le Massif.
Okay.
Yep. It's one of those weird mountains that like it's close to me here in New York City than it would be from like Boston or something. It's just a weird way you had to. I forgot what the road problem was with it, but it's just not the easiest place to get to from certain points. Maybe it's an easy flight. I don't know, but it's right. You ski down looking at the St. Lawrence River, and it just sounds like a beautiful.
Oh, that's cool.
I've seen some really nice pictures of it. And some of my friends have been to what's the big one in outside of Montreal?
Uh, I forget. I don't remember them geographically.
Yeah,
I know I want to get up to Treblanc, and that might be the one.
uh, yeah, I don't know. It's a very popular mountain, but
Yeah,
I
I
have.
can't remember. Yeah, I want to get up to Treblanc, and people keep telling me, "You like gambling? Go," because they got a chairlift that goes to the casino. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the greatest hill. You know what? There is the best mountain, and that's it. No, that's not true. But I'm curious because you live in New York, I live in Vermont. We have Quebec right there, and Ontario too. People love like Blue Mountain, Ontario, and
Mhm.
places in there. These are places I know I want to go. And like you said, over by Quebec City, I know people who have just visited Quebec City in the winter, and man, what a beautiful city, man!
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
I've only driven through it. I've never actually stopped there. And yeah, I figured by this point I would have. I've been through the Maritimes and stuff, but just been to Montreal for an overnight trip for a hockey game, but had not been to Quebec City. And yeah, that just feels wrong sometimes.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. It looks amazing, actually, and I'd love to ski around there too. They have good winters up there. They have a few other things. Um, you know what? I think we're gonna do real quick. I remember you sent. I put it out there. It's like if you got a question for Tom, let's ask it. We ended up getting two: the one you sent me and another one.
Okay.
We'll do the one you sent me first. I just got to find it real quick. Pardon me here. 1 second here. I'll get it. Go back down. The one from, what is it? At adventuring underscore Alina on Instagram,
Yep.
which was, I really do need glasses. What are your top 5 ski destinations in the U.S.? So that was kind of like what I asked you, the favorite. But
Yeah,
if you had to do a top 5,
yeah. So Stowe would be on that list. Whiteface could be also because again you have the Lake Placid Village there, which is just Olympic Village. I skied it not a ton, but 3 or 4 times, and that was one of those places where I felt like I skied really really fast because I was on the Olympic the run used for the downhill event and just a fun time. But that it's another you can not go to the mountain, just have a great time at Lake Placid.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Love Lake Placid.
when I went, Big Sky, I just love the vibe of the mountain. Just big, beautiful mountain, and it was, my birthday's in early February, so I was out there for that long weekend, like a 4 or 5 day trip, and it was just like I felt like I could ski all day long and never go on the same trail twice. I just, oh
Nice.
look, there's a person over there that's too crowded. I'm gonna, ski this way and not see anybody, for like 15 minutes or whatever. It was just so much fun. So I really like that.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Jackson Hole was one of those places I never thought because again, not being a really advanced skier, and I'm not going to do like the Colbert Strop or whatever that not
Yup.
nope, nope. But they put a new gondola up. They opened up a whole bunch of intermediate territory, and it was on that one of those mountain passes a couple of years ago. And I'm like, I'm doing it this year, and I did. And Jackson Hole again, another fun town. So
Nice.
I really like that. Heavenly 2 years ago. I mean, I don't want to say it was the prettiest or the most beautiful, but just skiing down and looking at Lake Tahoe, in front of you on a lot of these runs. And I don't know of any other. I can't think of any other mountain I've skied that had so many turnouts. I'm sure it was for the driving roads up to the mountain with the scenic turnouts, and they were using them in the winter for gawkers and people that just want to stop and take pictures. People out in the Northeast, we just stop in the middle of the trail if we want to take pictures.
Sure.
They had a whole like areas dedicated for them, and there'd be a
That's
bunch of people flying down and a bunch of people in the turnouts just taking pictures, and it was great. So those are I think, some of my favorites right now. I feel like I should name something else when I Sugarloaf is a fun mountain with a fun village. You can take a day off from skiing and just wander around town. There's a couple breweries right there. A couple, the Sugarloaf, not Sugarloaf, shipyard's right over there. So
sure.
shout out to them. Definitely one of my favorites. Like we went like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's like, well, okay, we're definitely coming back next year. Okay, well, maybe not next year. All right, we're definitely going this year. It's just one of those. It's far away, but it's just a fun mountain. And when you're driving up to it, there's like nothing else around you. You see this big, massive thing in front of you. It's a pretty cool sight. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's great. Some of those places I've never been to. Oh, actually, I don't think I've been to any. Like I said, I haven't done anything in the West. And I think, Sugarloaf is one of those ones that, it's always been on the radar, haven't hit. Jackson Hole, of course, I do want to go. Though, like you, I feel like the day I do Corbett's is the day I know that if I go down, I'm good with not skiing or snowboarding or anything again. Like I'm good with that. Like I don't want to die doing it, but if I break something, fine. You know, I because and it's way up there. Like you have to take the tram all the way up
Yeah,
first, and it's just like I
yeah.
won't be able to breathe. I won't be able to land. So if I know I want to go out, that's how I'm going to go out. Like in a
I,
blaze of glory.
I took the ride up Lone Peak, and then I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want to ski these bowls, but there was a nice trail looping around, and I was, got some nice pictures and got some nice skiing, and yeah, so yeah, I got up to the top of Lone Peak or near the top of it, and yeah, that was good enough for me.
And it looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. Like some of those places out west, I can't imagine. Like, and I hear things about like from all the way from Arizona and New Mexico all the way up to Montana is just ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I see there is a share function on here. If I had pictures ready, I'd probably be sharing it with you now, but say that for another time.
I was gonna say, if you got him on your Instagram, go to Tom's Instagram. You'll see it, and because he's been around, like I said, he had like he said, telling some great stories, and seeing so many places, and that is great. And like I said, I'm a big travel guy. Well, I'd like to be a bigger travel guy, especially in the car, road tripping, and just hit
Yeah,
this place, that place, this place, that place, and maybe not like for days on end, but hit a day here, get back in the car, day there. It'd be really kind of awesome. Now, speaking of East and West, to segue into our next viewer question, comes from Joe A at JJA3 on Instagram. Not sure who he is, where he came from. Not a regular Ski Rex Media interactive person, but whatever. Said, ask him what he would say to get West Coast skiers to ski the East.
ooh, that is a good question. Depending on where,
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of good breweries here in the East. I know that's a thing a lot of skiers look forward to after a day on the mountains, but there's no shortage out west, so that might not do it. We don't have the altitude problem. we know,
Yeah.
when I went to Breckenridge, one of the things that surprised me was the runs were like 2,000 to 3,000 feet. That's what the big ones are here. I could do that, in the East without getting sick.
Yep.
That to me is huge.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like that would sell me in a heartbeat.
Yeah, if you're used to it, maybe it doesn't matter to you anymore. But you probably ski faster and just have could ski a longer day. So yeah, there's some really nice resorts in the East. Killington is great. Jay is great. Stowe's great. Stratton's great. I mean, you can just up and down each state. You can go top to bottom. Just find one good mountain after the other. Sugarloaf, Sunday River. I'm so excited about Saddleback this year, and that's on the Indy Pass. It's great. Obviously, I can't say you must come here to ski that yet, but who knows? Maybe next year I would be saying that. So I think altitude would probably be the biggest reason for somebody out west to come over here, and just because you can get to a whole bunch of mountains in one trip. And if you come out here for a week, you could probably ski 3 or 4 mountains pretty comfortably. So if you're looking to build up numbers and just see a different part of the country, skiing would be a good way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Like a lot of people, I think would say just to get the difference between the soft stuff and the ice. I think that's what a lot of Eastern people would say. But I'm with you now. No, screw that. Who cares about the ice? Altitude, I'm all about it.
Yeah, when I mentioned before, my job is just outside of DC in Virginia, and when I first worked there, I had actually thought about, like, hey, could I live down here? Like, I'd missed the skiing up in the Northeast, but one of the guys in the office like, every year we're out in Colorado. It's it's an easy flight from here. I guess it's like probably 4 for me. It's like 3 for them or something like that.
Sure.
So yeah, but they don't look to come east. They do look to go west. There is something about skiing out west that's pretty awesome also. So
yeah, it definitely attracts.
You're skiing like the same size mountains, but just at a lower altitude.
Yeah, and that's a great point. But the attraction to the west, but again, I think that also comes from a lot of those. Again, I kind of gave a negative to the jump talk video, but that's where all that stuff is filmed. Like some of it comes out here, you see Stowe comes up in those places, Killington comes up in those videos sometimes. And some of those guys live up here, Ian Compton lives about an hour north of me. Some of the snowboarder guys all came out of Stratton.
Yeah.
But there's something attractive about the West, and everybody tries to get out there. And I do push people to come out here, but then I push people to go to Michigan. Joe, check that out.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've known like one person who's been out there to ski.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've been out there to
The
visit.
mountain that comes up every year that you hear like a whole bunch of times, and I forgot the name of the one on Lake Superior, Michigan, that people talk about all the time. But another one is Lustern or Lucerne in Minnesota that I'd never
Okay.
heard of it before, but also I always and that's on the Indy Pass. I'm like, maybe this is the year have ski out there. Who knows?
It's worth it, man, because the only other thing I ever thought about planning to do in Montana was what is it? It's open during the summer. I'm spacing it, but it's way too high. So
Yeah, and I'm not seeing that mountain in Michigan.
yeah, I can't. What's
It's
the
all like
big?
yeah, I don't know.
Wow, I can't believe I'm blanking that one too because we were just talking about it, and I know exactly which one you're
Yeah,
talking about, and I can't think of it.
climbing trails all through trees and stuff. Like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it anyway. But
I've
just a
heard.
ton of snow off the lake.
I've heard that place though is you should know what you're doing if you're
Yeah,
going out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you should be prepared because they get the ice, they get everything. It's like going to Mad River Glen, but with
Mhm.
worse conditions, and it's like that's awesome. But at the same time, if you're not skilled, maybe
And
plan to your skill set. Like admit that you're not that great. I admit that I'm not that great all the time. I can ski trees and I can ski steeps, but do I have to?
yeah, right.
Who am I impressing these days? I'm not trying to impress girls or anything. I'm done with that. That's for young guys. Let the
Yeah,
young guys do that
yeah.
stuff.
Just have fun.
Um, yeah, just out there having fun. I love it. I love that you've been everywhere. I love that it doesn't stop during the winter. You're hitting the national parks, even sometimes in the winter. That's fantastic. You're a cross country guy too. So now
So yeah,
that's 63, that's mountains. That's not like even the cross country stuff you've hit, right?
right, correct.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you've got a whole bunch more.
Not a bunch more. Like I mentioned Sugarloaf before. I skied there cross country. So Stowe's cross country. I've skied a few times. Like Placid, I've skied over there. Killington, the cross country center. Keechee, I think I skied. Not what's the town over there? The small quaint town. Woodstock.
Woodstock is just
Yeah,
that.
they have
Yeah.
a nice cross country thing over there. So I've done that. You in the Catskills. That could be it, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Some of the local parks and stuff like that. But yeah, not maybe 10, 15 cross country.
Okay. That's still more than I've done. I cross country skied in gym class only. So
Yeah, no, I did the classic for a while. I got okay doing the skating, but then haven't really done much of either the last few years. But
yeah, I've been thinking about getting back into it, trying it. Like I said, I only did it during gym class in high school, but it's such a great workout.
you feel so good right after it. Yeah,
It's a great skill.
I mean, you get your upper and lower body and just like everything. Just good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, and in around where I live, man, there's trails everywhere, not just like at the mountains that have their centers, but then there's the littler hills that's what they are. They are cross country, and then little local rail trails, man.
Yeah, I
It's
have a
wonderful.
rail trail that they just opened in the spring. That's it's like not even a 10-minute walk. I don't know what it's going to be like in the winter, but if we get a good snow, I'm definitely going to check it out.
Absolutely, and it's a great skill to have anyway for a lot of different reasons. Plus, I'm fairly certain a little bit of that skill can be transferred to the uphill stuff. Now, that's become it was getting more popular anyway, but the pandemic, everybody went out and bought touring gear. Were you one of
Yeah.
them?
No. But I usually leave families alone or just anybody in general. I don't really look to get people advice when I'm on the mountain. I don't think I'm a great skier, so I'm not. But I do know enough about cross country skiing that when I see people trying to pull themselves on a flat area, I tell them, can I just tell you one thing? Put your skis at your heels. Don't and push. That's you got to remember. Push. Don't pull yourself. If you put your poles out and you're pulling with your arms, you're going to get tired fast and go nowhere. And then as soon as they do it once or twice and they kind of launch themselves a little bit and they get the hang of it, you can just see them. It definitely helped me with my skiing for sure. In fact, the only reason I got into downhill skiing, I had been doing cross country, and the guy was like, "You're getting pretty good at this. You might even be able to get into a few races, but there are hills in cross country, and I can see you don't like going downhill." I'm like, "Well, I'm doing this because I don't like it." He's like, "Well, you're not going to go in circles all the time. You got to take a downhill lesson."
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, but once I got into the downhill, I kind of got away from the cross country and just do it here and there once in a while.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, it is fun. Like I said, I haven't done it in 20 plus years, but it is a good time and it is a great skill to learn. It will only improve your skills going back to Alpine or vice versa, I'm sure. Like I said, there's a ton of places here with that, and there's like some like down in Woodford, Vermont, down the southern place. They have an area like people love it, and I'm like, God, I didn't even know it was there, and I grew up there.
One of the books on shelves was a cross country one that from the '90s. I actually just threw out a season or two ago because it was so outdated. And anything I'd want, I'd look online anyway to see if it was still open or what else.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You have really done a lot, and you're going to keep going. Now, like you said, you plan on doing the small stuff, some big stuff. Do you plan on going out of the country again, or is that you did Austria and you're done?
No, I same with you. I kind of like the idea of skiing in South America, but those high summits or higher base areas just don't do it for me. Japan, I kind of want to ski. I definitely thought about that. I also wanted to see a baseball game in Japan, so I was wondering about like a March or April, what kind of ski baseball trip I could do, because Japan's not the easiest place to get to, of course. And if I could do those things in one trip, that could work. So I kind of would like to do that. I don't know, but and there's definitely some skiing in Canada that I'd like to do. And I skied Austria, I skied at Davos, Jakobshorn, and I would like to ski Italy. I'd like to ski Switzerland. Well, I'm sorry, ski Austria, I should say rather. Scandinavia, I don't really know if I'd like to, but just opportunities are limited. So if I had to pick and choose, I'm more eager to ski, I think, some of the mountains out west that I haven't skied yet than to, get back to Europe with the idea of skiing.
No, I get that. That's I'm 100% with you. I'll knock off stuff in the U.S. before I pick travel, especially now because who knows. Yeah. But Japan, you're right. And now Japan has 4 indie mountains, so that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So there you go. It really is. Shout out to Doug Fish. It really is the greatest pass. I some people might disagree. I love it. I don't know. But I'm down for Japan.
I heard that. Yeah.
I'm definitely down for Japan. If I'm gonna go out of the country, that's where I'm gonna go. And you're right, there's other stuff to do there. And that place just looks great and awesome. Yeah, you've definitely had quite the career, as it were. Even though it's not a professional career, you can pretty much, with those kind of stats, stack up to some of the pros and where they've gone and what they've done. I mean, I know some of them, they go do the mountaineering, so they're way up and they're going up Everest and these places. But all in all, man, you sound like you've done a lot and you're not done yet. And I think that's an awesome thing. Like, you're just going to keep going, man.
And that, like you're saying, that indie pass just makes you want to try other things. And when I've had the other mountains, sure, I picked out 1 or 2 things, but when travel is restricted or you can't really go too far, and all of a sudden you find out there's a whole bunch of mountains within, say, 4 hours of you, that easy overnight trip. And it definitely makes you want to just explore and see more of it. I mean, how many mountains are there in Vermont? 15, 17, something like that. I didn't know there was up near 40 in New York. And some of them are going to be much smaller and maybe, not worth a trip on their own. But if I can go to 2 or 3 of them over a long weekend or over a few days, then I might think about it. I really like some of the small ones out here. Pass last year was at Elk. I'm sorry, not Elk. Oak Mountain in the Lower the Adirondacks. Only like 3 hours, 3.5 hours from here, but a beautiful little mountain, friendly little place, great vibe there. And I'm like, this is awesome. So some of those little ones can really be a lot of fun, very charming and just fun.
Absolutely. And I that's what I tell people, like, but what about the bigger stuff? I'm like, the snow is the same, dude. Like, the big place is 2 miles away. Go to the small place, less people, less lines. Sure. All right. If you're a vert counter, you might not get as much, but you might get double the runs with less people. So you might get it anyway. But like you said, New York has so many. New York actually has the most in the US for the states. And, a lot of people think that's surprising. Like, wait, it's not Colorado. It's not Utah. It's not Wyoming. It's New York State, baby. Come east.
I mean, you got the Catskills, you got the Adirondacks, and then you have the mountains in the central part. So it's like, there's definitely a few little zones of them. And over the last couple of years, I've been trying to spend time in every county in New York State, and I wanted to have something more than just driving through. So a ball game, a national park, and yeah, skiing absolutely counts. So when I looked at all the counties and there's 62 of them, and the ones I was missing, oh, ski area here, ski area here, ski area. And when the Indy Pass came out, and three of them, were in those counties I was missing, I'm like, that's going to be my activity in this county, and that's how I picked them this weekend. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
lot of fun. So yeah, good stuff on that Indy Pass.
That's great, man. You have done so much. You're going to be an inspiration to some of us who keep saying, "Let's do it," and
Yeah.
never do it. Even though, like you said, there's so like I tell people all the time. I'm where I am in Vermont. I have stuff 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whaleback 10 minutes, and an hour. So many with that's. When I lived in New Jersey to get to the Catskills, it was 3.5 hours to get to Hunter. It was 3 hours to get to the Poconos. Now it's no time at all. So I should be doing it. And then with Indy Pass, man, they've made it easy.
Yeah.
If you ever get up to New Hampshire on Indy Pass, if you haven't done Pat's Peak, that's another one I suggest to everybody.
That's what I'm missing. Yeah.
That's I really like that place. I really did. It was just a great vibe, not so big, nice small parking lot, so you don't have to walk 10 miles to get your ticket. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a good one. Well, that was awesome, man. Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, this is fun.
That was such a great, just a bunch of stories and awesome.
Cool. Thanks, Tim. No, yeah, it was a super quick hour. So, I mean, a lot of fun, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. And this probably won't be the last time. I might call on you again because
maybe have Ray on again or something like that. And
yeah, dude, because we'll get you on one of the group specials with like those PA guys in the Mid-Atlantics.
There you go. Yeah.
It'll get wild. It'll get wild. Well, thank you again, Tom. I appreciate it. Tom, he's on Instagram and he's on Twitter. You can find him easy. He's been everywhere, and he'll be out there this winter just like me. So if you see us, I mean, I'll say hi to you, and I'm sure Tom's a very nice man. He'll do the same thing.
Absolutely. Sure.
Excellent. Thank you very much, sir, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. See you on the slope.
So once again, thank you to Tom Thrash for that hour, talking all the stories, talking about travel and talking about the Indy Pass and everything else we talked about. Really interesting guy. I'll put links to his social media if you want to see his travels in the description in the usual places, so you can check him out. Follow him if you're interested. And again, nice guy. If you see us out there, say hi. It's not a problem. I'll even get arrogant here. If you want an autograph, I'll give you an autograph. That's fine. I might have stickers. I can definitely give you a sticker. So again, thank you for Tom for being on the program. Thank you to you for watching or listening. #watching. I really again hope you enjoyed it. Please, before you go, please subscribe and rate and follow and go to the social media. And I'm going to start plugging the Patreon again, but I want to do some work on it for this season. I haven't gotten to that yet. I want to change a few things, see if we can make that a little bit more interesting or even really learn how to use it. I think I blew that over the last season completely. So be on the lookout for that. SkiRexMedia.com, SkiRexMediaMerchShop.com. Well, I'm really plugging that today. Check all that out. And we'll see you next week on the next episode. I'm not sure which one's going to be next. I feel like it's going to be John Hunt, executive director at Whaleback Mountain up here in New Hampshire, the closest ski mountain to Ski Rex Media HQ. But I'm not 100% sure about that, but you will know as soon as I know. Have a nice day, have a nice evening, have a nice night or morning, depending on when you're listening or watching. And I will see you out there. Enjoy. Have a good day, everyone. See you later.